And I know that each of you is up to this challenge because you are the mayor.
Through your freedom.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. And it's noonish around the world. Shall we say that? Well, noonish in some places. Still, folks, how do we know? Well, we have to look at the clock. We have to observe the clock. We have to surveil the clock. And this particular episode of The Prepared Mind was pointed out, wanted to be talked to by a great donation yesterday. That was terrific. And also, we have some other donations that I want to discuss. We had Delors, who says, John, you owe me. So here we go, brother. Ooh, very smooth. Additionally, we've got, trust me, we're going to get to it all. We've got a couple other terrific donations. We had Derek B. and Dominic B. both sent in some nice CashApp donations. Thank you for supporting the Prepared Mind channel as we go through the transition of leaving Patreon behind, going to a more protected and ultimately, folks, an untouchable way to get you uncensored information that is unmolested, if you wish, by big tech. That is the idea. That's where we're heading so that we can talk plainly, openly, in any way we want. Free speech. But what is quieting people down? What is stopping people from talking? Well, number one, ignorance. If the mainstream media doesn't do its job and put the information out, we can't discuss it. And in addition to that, if the mainstream media and big tech and big politics, right? In other words, leftist DC scum, if they continue to threaten us, silence us, censor us, punish us, then once again, the level of discussion and information goes down. And we can't make intelligent decisions as people, as the owners of this nation and the owners of the world. Indeed, all of us folks, right, should have a say in what the hell's going on. But the powers that be, they want to not only own everything and you own nothing and be happy, they want to control everything, absolutely. Well, one of the ways they do this is surveillance. Literally surveillance. If you know you're being listened to, you're quiet, right? Now, I watched this great movie. It's an old movie, too. An old Will Smith movie called Enemy of the State, in which he's an attorney who's being surveilled by the NSA, right? It's a top secret government, federal government, U.S. DC government organization that listens to phone calls, reads your emails, has satellites. When this movie was made, folks, decades ago now, it scared the crap out of me then, knowing that the government has that kind of power. Well, they have that kind of power and more, probably a lot more than we realize. Your silly little phone, it's listening. It is. And I don't care what it hears because I'm not breaking any law. But they should be well aware, folks, of who among us are the good guys with regard to patriotism, liberty, and freedom. And they consider us the bad guys. But they can't and haven't criminalized free speech yet. Now, a key addition to this surveillance state that's come about as a consequence, a literal consequence of technology meeting the police state, the Patriot Act state, the NDAA state, that's the National Defense Authorization Act. They've added drones to the mix. And not just military drones that fly at 30,000 feet and look at us, and the Predator drone, which is armed with missiles, armament. These are controlled remotely by tech turds who think they're really cool, who actually have a ton of psychological problems, by the way. They do. These drone operators were at one point quitting. But don't worry, they'll fill those chairs with others who think it's really cool until they too have psychological problems from drone bombing people. Until they have nothing but a cadre of pilots who are heartless and soulless and have no empathy or conscience. And they'll do everything they're told to do. Now, moving apart from those expensive drone platforms, we now have a new threat, and it's within the civilian population as well as local, state, and federal and military population. Surveillance drones. Surveillance drones. In most states, warrants are needed for them to use a drone to follow a specific person, to spy on them, to use a camera and a microphone. And folks, they have directional microphones, which are astounding to pick up on your conversation, say, in a park. But it has to be somewhere in the open, right? It can't fly into your house. But there are other listening devices, folks, that are incredibly powerful. So understand that they can listen in your house, even from outside. We'll talk about that in a moment. Drone technology is, shall we say, very powerful. It's very intrusive. And it does have a very chilling effect on those of us who see drones. I was out training on the water a couple of weeks ago, and I saw someone flying a drone, and I thought, is that a private person or is that the government? Right. Now, one of the things about these drones is you can hear them. They're not real silent. Does the government have access to silent drones? I'm certain they do. The more money and the more secretive a government organization is, the more technically adept and the access to high technology is something that they'll have. Now, as just regular little people, because that's really all I am. I'm just a regular guy hiding in a bunker, hiding in Studio A or Studio B, going out and doing some training in the field, mingling with the general public from time to time. I'm nobody. So I do not expect the NSA or even the Department of Homeland Security, certainly not the FBI or the CIA, to give a flying frog's butt about me. Not for real. Not enough to put one of their high-tech super drones on me. Right? If you're a nobody or an average Joe or a regular Margaret or whatever, I don't think we should fear the government and their drones. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't be aware of the technology and understand that it can be abused, and that people are, through all means of enforcement and attempts at censoring and silencing, they're taking regular people and punishing them as if they're real criminals. Take a look at the January 6th protesters. Right? But those are high-profile cases there when they go after the Paul Manaforts or the Peter Navarros or the General Flynn's, or a high-profile event is used to create national news like the January 6th BS that's going on. So for us little people, they know we're really not talking about anything. They know that we're not planning a coup d'etat. We're not planning a revolution. We're not doing any of those things. So to worry about surveillance from them is a stretch, right? Let's be aware of it. Let's stay informed. Keep an eye on things always, right? But I am more concerned about the use by other people to surveil us. Once again, I'm not afraid of the government as much as I'm afraid of their stooges. You know, BLM, Antifa, the Let's Go Communist Brigade, the Bader Ginsburg, sent me crowd. I'm more concerned about private citizens. These radical, leftist, violent private citizens using drones to surveil me for their own purposes. Right? Whatever those purposes may be, whatever nefarious evil they have in mind. But again, I'm really small potatoes, right? We only have 80,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Right? They aren't too worried about it. So, or are they? So yes, keep an eye out on these drones. And it is illegal, folks, to drop down in people's yards to spy on them. Right now, public places, different story. Go to the park, go to a lake, go to the river, and you can expect to see drones and not have an expectation of privacy. The government may have the technology to fire a laser at a window on your house and use that window, much like a speaker, a microphone. As it vibrates, it picks up on that vibration and translates it back into sound. And they can listen to sound from a distance using a laser on a window. Talked to someone years and years ago, probably 30 years ago, 1995, 1996, military industrial complex, employee of a subcontractor, right? One of these guys. He's worked on the technology, is well aware of it. It's been around a long time. It's talked about in books. Right? Listening, using a window, using a room as a listening device. There's way technical stuff that goes back, folks, into the Cold War, back into the 50s and the 60s, where the Soviets and America were arguing and fighting about stuff. And they had incredible surveillance techniques. But for you and me to buy off the shelf, regular Joes, that stuff is not available. Directional microphones, yes. Super duper stuff, really expensive. And but the idea, the ability then to put cameras and microphones on a drone and fly them to surveil you, they can't look into your house. That's illegal. It could happen. Again, we should keep our eyes out, keep our ears open, right? But try not to worry about it too much. I try not to. Right? If I'm sitting outside and I hear a helicopter, it instantly gets my spidey senses going. Like, is that helicopter ride for me? Is it surveillance or is it just flying by? Get used to and understand the normal air traffic that you have. Anyways, Godspeed. Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Semper Fi.